love all of our players. Freddie, nice guy.
Look, the crack of that bat. Nothing more beautiful than that.
Baseball is such an important part of our family.
That's the beautiful game of baseball right there. You win some, you truly lose some.
I just want somebody to talk Dodgers to me.
Okay, ladies, make it.
We rolling?
I'm nervous.
You're nervous, but you talk every day on the broadcast. How could you be
But
nervous?
this is new and different. I'm in a young lady sandwich.
Well, guys, we have a very special treat for you today. We are not only on the road with the podcast for the second time.
Second time, first time you will be seeing it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because we did a fun episode with Eddie last week that will come out in a couple of weeks. But we have the legend himself, Orel Hershiser, here with us.
The one and only for episode 26.
Mm-hmm.
It should be episode 55.
It should be.
You know what? Maybe you'll come back
we'll
for
have you
55.
come back for that.
I'll come back for 55, 59, and 88.
Okay,
Perfect.
you heard it here. We
You heard
have
it
it.
here, guys. Talk Dodgers to me.
Oh,
Episodes,
And look where we are. We're in the Dodger room.
I mean,
We are. This is your room.
Yeah, we're in Legends Attic. I'll do a little commercial. We're in Legends Attic in Claremont, and we're off of Foothill. And we are like 2,700 square feet, 5-6 rooms of memorabilia. It's not all baseball. It's artwork from Dave Holbrook. It's a helmet room. It's pinball machines. It's anything you'd want in a she shed or a man cave.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's an exciting place. And the great place about this is, as you will look around, I'm sure you'll take the camera around during the podcast. The great thing is that people say, why don't you charge an entry fee? And we're like, well, we have memorabilia that's not for sale, but we also have the stuff that's for sale. We have the artwork, and you know what? We want you to enjoy it. So our whole goal is to make it a great fan experience. And if you end up buying something from us, we love that. But if you end up having a great time and become a deeper and better sports fan, that's even better.
You're doing a great service to the fan base of not just the Dodgers, but like you said, there's so many other sports here. And there's even, Eddie's a movie fan. And
Yeah,
music,
we got
there's
guitar,
so
Neil
many
Diamond
things.
guitar. We've got all kinds of stuff, Frank Sinatra stuff. Some people
Music,
won't like
movie,
it.
sports.
Britney Spears, we might not say that
I
name.
saw
out
that and I
loud.
was like, what?
Hey, what's that doing here?
I know.
No, but we really want people to have a good time. And you know what? The memorabilia business doesn't have a completely great reputation. And we wanted to do something where everybody knows the stuff is authentic. Everybody, we've authentic guys, however that word is. But and we want people to be able to see up close and personal. So it's the World Series trophies, the MVPs, the
Cy Young.
Cy Young is here. I don't want anybody to rob us, but we have plenty of security. So it's all good.
That is true.
Security everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah, so don't come trying, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want to come and just have an incredible experience and be immersed and just mesmerized, you guys really have elevated.
The fun
that
part
experience.
about this has been our staff is very young and they're learning as they go. But now that we've been open for months, when they hear me tell a story, they hear Eddie tell a story, they hear Christian tell a story of different people that work here, all of a sudden everybody ends up knowing what's going on. Kind of like your guys' podcast.
Yes, we came last week and we were here hours longer than we thought because of you walk in and you're greeted by these friendly faces, big smiles on their face, so happy to be here themselves that just translates to everybody that walks in here. And the other cool thing is we walked in last time and there's a bunch of new stuff that we saw today that wasn't here last time.
Things have changed around a little bit already.
I love it when things change because that means we maybe sold something.
Right? And every time you come here, you get to see different stuff.
Yeah, and we are in the business of also purchasing stuff. So we have a purchasing group of 2 or 3 people that travel around and look on the internet and stuff.
Cool.
So we try to find stuff new, and we want it to be kind of unique. We're not going for the things like there's 100,000 printed of that, or there's 200.
You trying to find that 50 home run ball of Shohei's?
Yeah, well, that would be, I guess that's going on auction, and there's actually a lawsuit around that ball.
Whoa, wait,
There is?
really?
Yeah, the young man that supposedly got it said that another older gentleman that was stronger pinned his arm down and grabbed the ball out. So now that auction is starting, and the minimum bid is like $500,000.
Oh my god!
And there's a lawsuit out of Florida
From the
that
other
this
guy.
young man is suing
gosh.
and has described in the lawsuit what was happening. and who's gonna witness it? Who's
Replay.
gonna say?
Did the
Look
Dodgers
at the video
offer
evidence.
300,000? I heard, or is that a rumor?
I have no idea what goes on, because usually, any home run ball, if it's significant, or any base hit or ball, and then somebody for some reason throws it into the stands, which I have a story about that. Yeah, good tease.
Tell me.
The inside scoop.
But there's always like, oh, that was Pages' first home run, or that was Pages' home run in last night's game.
Woo!
Last night's game. Sorry, we're dating this, but
No, we're gonna talk about last
Guys,
night.
I was there, and I'm
some
a little
of us
tired,
are tired.
but I figured Orel
Yes.
would be okay with it.
Yeah, but
I think fans
so
will laugh.
there's usually this trade like, oh wow, home run ball, that was so and so's first, and you get a bat, a meet and greet, and a photo, and you get maybe a couple more balls. And then sometimes if it's a rookie, it's like, well, I'll do it for a Mookie Betts bat. I don't even want the
They're
rookie's
like,
bat.
I don't care that much about the rookie,
Yeah, but if
can I
you
give
do a
some
Mookie bet, yeah. And there's a rule in the big leagues that we don't pass autographs. Because how do you have a teammate / friend that every day comes in and is asking Mookie for another autograph, asking Freddie Freeman for an autograph, putting something in Ohtani's locker going, hey, sign it later. That would ruin the chemistry of a team. So
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, there's rules in the big leagues that you don't pass autographs among teammates.
Is it like an unwritten rule?
It's unwritten, and it usually happens only like for charities. So if I went over to Mookie's locker and I said, hey, I'll give you 3 of my balls. Can I have 3 of yours? And I'd sign 3. He'd sign 3. And now my charity has Mookie balls. He has Orel Hershiser. So that's the way it usually happens. Yeah. And for family members, it's okay. But as far as a fan or a pass or, hey, can you introduce me? It's kind of that whole unwritten rule that our fraternity, our tight-knit group, there's only certain people that
You
get
gotta
to get
protect
to
each
get in.
other.
Yeah.
What are some other unwritten rules?
Oh boy. Well, everybody knows what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas.
I think I've heard that one.
That's
before.
true. You'll
Yeah.
tell us later.
And they changed that with the locker room, What happens, whatever.
What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room?
Yeah, it was a little odd there when I just said Orel's balls, so I wanted to move past that.
Ooh, fair.
Okay, back to Legends Attic.
Okay, thank you.
We did get a lot of info from Eddie last week, but I'd love to know just how it all came about.
Well,
From your perspective.
Yeah.
well, the word legends came a little bit because the Dodgers put me into the Legends of Dodger Baseball. And so there was a big ceremony. And then the Dodgers on the 5th floor, as you enter the main offices there by the ticket windows, they have displays of the different things that are going on. Like there's an Ohtani's display right now. I think there's always been a Jackie Robins display. There's been a Roy Campanella. There's been a Sandy Koufax. So they decided to do legends. And Fernando's been in there. Manny Mota was a legend with me. And so they said, Orel, we need some of your memorabilia to make a display. And so I brought it all out of the attic.
Oh, wow.
And so now the Legends stuff is over. The Dodgers say, hey, we're going to change the display. And, you get it back. So come on up and pick it up. So Eddie's nice enough with his truck to come and pick the stuff up. So we're picking up the Cy Youngs and the MVPs and pictures of my parents and the bat I used in the World Series, and all the different things that are special to me. Picture of Tommy and I together. It was a beautiful display.
That thing right there?
That one right there.
That's one of my favorites.
So Eddie's like, well, what do you know? I said, I'm putting it back away, because
Back into the
I
attic.
have a new home in Vegas, but I've never redone my man cave. So this stuff has been sitting in boxes in the attic for, for 3-4 months, a year. And so he's like, well, I got a lot of memorabilia, and Leslie wants me to start getting rid of it. And Mike Capozio, our other partner, says, Sheila wants me to start getting rid of my stuff, and I'm still buying stuff. And I'm like, Dana's like terrible when I bring a bobblehead home or this or that, more stuff. Because during my career, I would collect probably like a crate or a medium-sized box of stuff in my locker every month. Every month, I just have a box there, and whatever was a giveaway or a ball, or I got something.
You're like, I'll take one.
I just put it
I
in
always
there.
wondered about that. They give each player.
Yeah, there'll be something on our
the
chair.
giveaway?
Yeah, if it's a Mookie bobblehead, of course he'll get a case of them. But everybody else will get one, and maybe if you know the clubby or hey, you need 2 because you have 2 kids. Hey, can I get 2?
Yeah.
You get them on your chair in your locker. So all that stuff, I would just have a box because it would just make your locker a mess.
Yeah.
And then all those boxes went into the attic. And for over the years,
The Legends Attic.
so that's Eddie's creativity.
Yeah.
And as of us taping this, are we allowed? Or
Yeah.
we're storing it. digitally storing it.
It'll be out 1 week from.
It'll be out
Thursday.
Okay,
Thursday.
so nobody knows what day Thursday is.
Our listeners know Thursday is Talk Dodgers to Me new episode day.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff in my trunk right now because now my trunk becomes the boxes of the locker, and the trunk becomes those boxes, and then my wife doesn't get mad at me when I bring something home from the ballpark and it comes in the house, so the trunk just gets filled up. So when we go to the airport, we put the luggage in the back seat.
I was gonna say, we
can't put it in the trunk,
else.
honey. She's like, and why can't we put it in the trunk? And she goes to put her purse or something back there, or maybe her cosmetic bag. Oh, all this stuff.
Probably like things people would die for.
Like, don't worry, it's going to the museum. It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, see, but you have this beautiful place now, and in a way, yes, it's all of the hard work that you and Eddie and Mike have brought together and all the wonderful things that you have. But we really have the wives to thank for it existing.
Leslie, Sheila, and Dana.
They're like, get it out of my house.
Well, when we put this together and we repainted the walls, this used to be an old professional decorator's office. And so each room had special cabinetry, special colors, a theme, but it didn't really fit what we wanted. And so we had to come up with a budget for paint and different things. And Eddie would start doing it, and Mike would come, and I would come cross-check, and we'd have other ideas, and we go, no, let's repaint that. And then when we got it finished, we're like, we can't sell anything. It's too nice. It's like our man cave. But the rent's too high. You got to sell a few things. And our young personnel, Eddie and Mike are so good at hiring what Eddie calls green peas. So they like to hire people that really don't know your industry but are willing to learn, so they don't have any bad habits to break. And our employees sorry, but this might be wrong in the woke generation, but our kids, we treat them like family. And they're amazing.
I love that.
And so those smiling faces you talked about when you said when you came in to get tours, that's the heart of this place. Is you need to come here and just enjoy and don't worry about pressure of price tags or what's going on or what's for sale or what's not.
You're not trying to upsell us. You're not trying to, you're not even trying to
We're
sell
making
stuff.
money. We're making money.
Yeah.
Just like our car dealerships, just like any of our businesses, we want to make money, but we want to make money fairly and we want to make money honestly. We want people to feel like they got value. And that's the same way with the cars. Like during the pandemic when chips were a problem, Mike Capozzi, our main partner, didn't mark cars up. So we sold a car to Dino Ebel, our third base coach, for $8,000 less than any place he ever did it. And he came in and picked up the car, sat in Mike Capozio's office, talked baseball with him for about a half hour, and goes, Mike, how'd you do this? He goes, you're going to come back. And Dino goes, well, I got two sons that are about to get cars. We're coming back.
See?
So that
And
kind of
major
integrity.
leaguers.
And that kind of
I should have
integrity.
came to you guys in 2018 when I got my car.
There you go.
Well, you can feel that integrity behind all of you guys and all that you're doing. Would
We're
there
trying.
be anything here that you'd have a hard time parting with?
Ooh.
Our wives would say it's all available.
They're like, anything you want. I was like, that's Cy Young Award.
The World Series trophy. So I've gone to my kids, because I just turned 66. I've gone to my kids and said, what do you really want? What can I let go? And they're like, anything that has your name on it, we kind of want. So, the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year has Orel Hershiser on the Grecian Urn. The Cy Young has my name on it.
Yeah.
The World Series trophy doesn't, but I think that's going to be probably stable, left behind. But there are things that, I say, well, would you like a down payment on your house or would you like to have the MVP? And they're like, oh, the house would be nice.
Like, ooh.
So
One of those
you
is
guys are
much
that
harder to
generation,
get.
right? You're about my age of my kids.
Yes.
So there's going to be some fine lines there I think they'll cross.
Look, a down payment's hard to come by these
So
days.
everything's for sale, I think. Especially.
Do you have a favorite piece?
Oh boy. Do you mind getting off camera for a second and going, grab that
Is
putter?
it the golf club?
Yep. Grab
I
that putter.
asked him about that.
This is
last
very
year.
sentimental.
Yeah.
So this is sentimental because this came from Robert Fraley, and Robert Fraley died in the Payne Stewart plane crash, and Robert was my agent / best friend. Payne Stewart was a very, very close friend of Robert's and a close friend of mine. Payne Stewart was the only guy that I actually have kissed on the lips by mistake.
There's a story.
That is a story. Well, I met him at one of his tournaments, and I yelled, Payne, Payne, and he ran from the center of the fairway over to the ropes, and as we turned, we were going to hug. We both turned the same way, and our lips hit.
Oh my gosh.
So then this putter was Payne's, and it got to be Payne's because it was Arnold Palmer's, and it was Arnold Palmer's because he won a golf tournament with this. And when you win Arnold Palmer's golf tournament at Bay Hill, you get to go to dinner the next night at Arnold's house.
Wow.
Where Payne lived at Bay Hill, Robert Fraley lived at Bay Hill, Arnold Palmer lived at Bay Hill, and Payne Stewart, whose nickname at that time was Avis because he always came in second, and Hertz Rent-A-Car was always number one.
my God,
You got
Avis
Adam
was
laughing
number
back
two. So Payne wins Bay Hill, goes to Arnold's house the next night for dinner, and then Arnold says after dinner, let's go to the club room. And the champion is allowed to pick one club. And Payne picked a putter because Payne was a great wedge player and putter. And that's the reason he won many golf tournaments, because he wasn't the longest hitter. He's a great iron player and a great... Payne loved to play in tournaments.
You know the green is
Right.
very important.
Payne loved to play in tournaments where par was a good score. He didn't want to play where they're 23 under par.
Yeah.
So Payne took this putter from Arnold. Payne gave this putter to Robert after negotiating a big contract when Payne used to wear knickers at the NFL, and he'd wear NFL colors, and especially on Sunday for his teams. And then Payne gave this. And so the night that I signed with the Cleveland Indians and compared to the San Francisco Giants, when I was bawling in my closet because the Dodgers wouldn't offer me a job anymore, and then the lockout broke loose, one when the World Series was canceled. I was putting with this putter in Robert's office while we were talking to the Giants and the Indians.
Wow.
I committed to the Indians, and Robert said, you can have that putter. And I go, Robert, I know the story behind that putter. I cannot have that putter. He goes, I want you to have that putter. I said, no. I put it back in his golf bag in the closet of his office. When he passed away, Dixie Fraley, Robert's widow, said to me, what of Robert's do you want?
Oh.
So our last round of golf, I took the golf shirt that he wore, and I said he always wanted to give me the putter.
Oh.
And so I have the putter.
That's such a beautiful...
And then we argued over a couple other things. Robert and I, not Dixie and I. There was a Maitland Smith coffee table that there was only one of at the store we were at. And I said, well, he bought it and I wanted it. And then there was a dead rabbit hanging in a mural painting outside of his office. And his dad was a hunter and would make him skin the rabbits and bleed them and do all the things when they were hunting. And Robert didn't like to hunt, didn't like to kill animals, and didn't like to skin them and bleed them. But he bought this painting to remind him of his dad who had passed. And I said, can I have the painting of the rabbit? And she said, yeah. So those are the 4 things I got. Wow. So this putter is very special to me.
That can't be for sale.
No, it's not for sale.
That one's
but the
not
great thing is, we now have authenticity about this because of your show.
Hey!
This whole story and this whole history is right here.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with
You're
us.
welcome.
That's a really beautiful story.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever told you you're a really great storyteller?
Only the things that happened to me. I was not a good student.
Really?
Oh, I was academically ineligible from Bowling Green State University my freshman year. But I think it's because I didn't go to class. I was really good at the bowling alley and the pool hall.
Hey.
Well, you did pretty well for yourself.
Yeah.
Once they forced me to go to class, I was on the dean's list. But I wasn't real good not going to class. I used to tip people or give people money or do favors for them to get their notes to then study for the test and then just take the test.
You're like, I'm great.
We are not
Test.
advising that to
Don't make
anyone.
me go.
And I used to hire girls or take them on a date, take them to dinner to type my papers.
Oh my
Do you like
gosh.
me? Yes. And we type my paper.
You're like, great. How fast are you
I can't
typing?
type. I'm like,
Well, good thing is, your job does not require you to type. It just requires you to talk.
no, I just have to read, study, and know where it's at. Joe Davis
But
does
you
the
have to know-
broadcast.
you have to know stories, and that's one of the things
Yeah.
that I love. I feel like listening to you guys on air, and it's why I enjoy listening to the broadcast so much. I told
Yeah.
Eddie this. I aspire to one day be the 65-year-old lady at the stadium with the sound in my ear, listening to the game and watching it. I get best of both worlds, and I love it because you guys. You find a way to make it feel like an experience, and you're telling stories and you're tying it all together, but you're also learning about the game as it's happening. And it's just such a wonderful way to learn the game of baseball. I feel like when you didn't play it, you're just a regular,
What's
we're regular
so
fans.
interesting is I don't think about telling stories. I just try to be myself, and then it just happens. Joe is very good at setting me up without you knowing he's really asking me a question. Like he'll take me somewhere, or he'll let the game take us somewhere, or if he has done some research on the beginning of the catcher's mask, or when the strike zone changed, or the dead ball era, or anything, he'll see how it fits in the game, and then he'll go there, and then I just start processing, how would I talk about that? How would I live in that generation? What do I know from Ron Say or Steve Yeager or Roy Campanella or Vin Scully? What do I know from my past that kind of works with this?
So you're bringing
like
your
you're at a cocktail party.
in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's like we meet you and you feel like we've known you forever, and I'm just hanging on to every word because that even helps us in what we're doing right here. And I hope that we can have you back for all those episode dates
55,
that you said.
59,
because I have so many questions.
Stories.
Why in the world would those names be significant? I don't know.
I want to know everything about it, but we have to ask you about the current Dodgers and how you're feeling going into the postseason.
Sorry, we can't. He has to go on
We
his
can't?
next interview.
Okay.
Hey,
So you
we're
just
about
got-
to go on ESPN, but we will be back.
He's gonna go.
Stay tuned.
Talk Dodgers to me.
Well, neither of us are from LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we both came to LA, and going to Dodger
14
games
years
and
deep.
loving baseball. Like I grew up, my dad had 3 TVs in the basement, so we can watch every game. He installed a urinal. He
That
had
was
the
my mother.
ultimate man cave. And so
That's pain.
moving out here, going to games, it was like Kershaw was up and coming, and he was the talk
Right.
of the town, and it really connected me with the city.
Yeah.
And
Are
finding
we on right now? Or are you?
We're rolling. Just
Good.
right.
Okay, good.
finding female friends to talk baseball with is not the easiest thing. So like Allie and I immediately bonded, and we never really moved past talking baseball in our friendship. So we're still learning about each other while we're recording, and bringing more females into the game is something that we didn't really even think of that much, but it's so cool to have people reach out and say, this is what I wanted. I'm so happy. I feel like you're saying everything that I'm thinking, and I'm sitting in the room with you. So that's
it's just it's a different way into being able to talk about the game that we love, and it gives us an excuse to get to talk baseball. Because same, like in LA, especially working in the gym industry, I feel like I don't know a ton of sports fans that are diehard as I am, and I grew up in Alabama, very sports diehard fan.
So I have a feeling I know what sports fans that want to ask, but are embarrassed to ask because they don't want to be exposed.
Yeah.
So if you give them an avenue to ask or to talk about things like, somebody might say, Kershaw, he's a great right-handed pitcher, and then all the other sports fans are like, you are imbecile. He's the best lefty of all time.
Yeah. And it's
So
like,
then-
no, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we don't pretend to know it all. We're asking questions. We're still learning. We're trying to think about how they're thinking, and Adam brings us back to life as spoiled Dodger fans.
Yeah, he reminds us that he's a Cubs fan, and it's so sad.
That Cubs series, they won the first 2 games. He threatened to bring a broom into our next recording.
And then we went to the game.
We
all
went to
together.
game 3
Oh, it was beautiful.
and tortured him.
So Adam, do
That
you work
first
on the
inning-
documentaries too?
He does.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
Adam is my head of post.
This is like big time, yeah. He's big time.
Yeah, so he's my head of post, and
We couldn't
works
do it
across
without
all
him.
of my documentaries.
For your
but-
fans out there, I'll tell you, this is very professional. I mean, this is not cheap stuff.
You heard it from Orel.
This is not cheap
Guys,
stuff.
we are not skimping on you.
No,
So we just
not
had a
at
little
all.
coffee break.
Coffee break.
Cheers.
Back to it.
Cheers.
And we left off wanting to hear your thoughts on the current Dodgers.
We clinched the division.
Yep.
And
So you guys are on the team now. That
great
was a we.
fashion. We
Always.
That is as a true sports fan.
Good fans are we, yeah.
We are a part of it.
I get
the
it.
cheering does make a difference.
Those are our boys.
Okay, all right. Well, you had him young.
Yes, it was back in the day. Just
Listen,
You guys are
Started out
very well
162
maintained for your
games.
age.
We spend a lot of time.
it's
with
a lot
them.
of self-care, a lot of face massages.
You guys should start doing, moisturizer commercials.
Especially after 4 hours of sleep after that game last
Well,
night.
It was.
Melissa
I
Arden.
watched it actually from a restaurant with my son with the sound on, as we told in segment 1. But yeah, it's when you're close to the guys and you develop relationships. It's like watching your kids play, or it's like watching your teammates, and you can live vicariously in a different way because you experienced it also. And people are like, were you there? You asked me earlier, were you there? And I was like, no, I was watching on TV. And, my schedule was made up for broadcasting, like thinking that the Dodgers were going to win by like 15 games. And they said, so let's do up to here. And then we'll give Orel a nice 10 days off before the playoffs start. And then he'll be working every day because of the playoffs. Yeah. So my schedule that was made up in the last off season pretty much doesn't have me working as far as broadcasting.
These last few games.
Yeah, the last few games, the last 6 games. The trip to Colorado I'm not on. I was on the trip to Miami. But then it's like, oh, you'll be off here. And it's like, it was great because Joe and Jessica did the game, and they did a marvelous job. I got to hear them, and it was fun to watch. I was so excited not to get away from the clinching, but we were so excited to be in Miami for Ohtani's 50-50 game, and Joe and I were on that. It's it actually, I felt like a bad broadcaster.
What? Really?
Because it's so amazing what's going on, and you feel like your vocabulary is short. So I thought Joe did such an amazing job, and I also felt like in the rules or the culture or the thoughts of Al Michaels and Vin Scully and the great broadcasters, there are times when it's just good to be quiet.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of semi-worshiped that style because I love watching a game and I love interpreting in my own eyes because I'm already a fan, I'm already in this, and I don't like the over-talking, and I don't like the, you're got to tell me what I'm seeing. I want to experience.
You don't need to fill every space.
Right. So, laying out in the industry is way better than, vibing and going off.
So you were just in awe watching.
Yeah,
him.
and when I was going to speak, I didn't want to say something that was like going to take people from this moment over here to Orel, or to, that was the wrong word, or that's not well said. So it was better to just leave it alone and then wait. And then when something hit me in a guttural way, like
you have to say
this is the right thing. That if I'm feeling this, then everybody is probably feeling this. And so that's what was special about it, is Joe had the right words and we had the right, I think, pacing and silence to just leave it alone, a lot of it.
It was perfect. And I even remember from when Shohei hit 40-40, Joe, I thought it was a great call, but he was having regrets because he didn't say Shohei Ohtani in that call. So it's like, because sometimes I wonder, how much can you prepare for those moments?
Well, he does not rehearse his home run calls. He's contextual, where he is seeing, we're in Miami, he's seeing what time of day it is or night. He's seeing what the score is. He's seeing how many decks are there. He's just kind of taking it all in, and then he doesn't know how that's going to come out.
So he is actually AI.
Yeah, he's AI.
So Adam
exactly.
actually thinks he was generated by AI. Can you confirm?
All the best.
Well, he was generated by knowing at a very young age that he wanted to be a broadcaster, and he was the one with the little tape recorder and taping, and then going back and listening. And he's very meticulous about anything with his sound guy.
Yeah.
Making sure his headset, making sure he does one flap down where I have both flaps on, making sure, when I go to the home run call and he's testing the audio before the game, is my voice going to break? I want to know what volume I can go to. And so I just take his settings.
I'll have what he's having.
My old ears and what I would describe to the sound guy of what I need. I'll just take Joe's settings.
I love it. Well, what's so cool is it seems like you've been doing this for so long. You played. You've had this incredible broadcasting career.
I don't know about that,
and
but
it doesn't seem like you've lost any love for the game. Like, the fan in you is still there, just as you said, with watching Shohei and being mindful of your words in that moment and how to not overspeak, but really be present with it. How do you balance that, in that fan enthusiasm of watching the game, but also knowing like you still have a job to do?
Yeah, that's a good question, but it's taking me away from the game and taking me to my parents. And it's taking me to my upbringing of being kind to neighbors, being thoughtful with please and thank you, and showing up on time with just where are you, who are you, how do you need to be. And so when I became a broadcaster, I wanted to find out who do I need to be, and that was the most important thing. And if you take that punch list, the boxes you need to check, the first thing you need to check is this is about the audience. This is not coming into the booth to become a star or to be the star or to combat your partner or to say that's my replay or that's your moment, or it's about what is going on and how is it being communicated and how is it being received. And so I've been able to be in 3-man booths, 3-man and lady booths.
Yeah.
And kind of understand the balance of silence, one voice, play-by-play, the other voice. And then you're in a 2-person booth, and you learn that balance. And you learn who's the captain and who is the frosting on the cake. And that's what I am. And you learn that on radio, it's a play-by-play, media. On TV, it's more of an analyst media. But if your play-by-play guy is well-versed and well-studied, then it's a good balance. And so I've worked with a lot of play-by-play guys, and some can finish my sentences, and some need your help that you better study that, through and through. My 2 favorite and the 2 best, Steven is getting there right now, but he's just learning the Dodgers because he just came on. Steven Nelson, who's our other partner, he's doing a great job. Joe, of course, can finish my sentences, and Dan Schulman could finish my sentences and was that prepared. And those kind of guys are so much fun to do the broadcast with because you don't have the pressure of, as an analyst, to know every single thing, and you get to relax and just kind of be yourself.
Does it make you appreciate Vin Scully even more that he was doing that on his own for so many years? Yeah,
he was one voice, and that was, it was because it was simulcast with radio. And he did a lot of things that came across TV that were very radio, that stayed with television for a long time, like giving the count and giving the score so often and giving the weather and giving the colors of the uniform and telling you the story that this is the day.
Really painting a picture.
The cotton candy skies.
Right, and azure skies, I think that's the right word. But so Vinny, that was a tough transition for Joe and I to think we are now coming into Vinny's booth. We don't want to say replacing Vin Scully. And we planned a lot of things going into it. We planned, we have to have an inning where Joe is going to tell a story. We planned that he's still going to have to do probably the count and ball one and those kind of things. Because when you don't, the audience is so used to that, they're going to say, that's not what Vinny did.
Yeah, like where is that?
Yes. I mean, we even get that in no-hitters, where in Sandy's no-hitter, Vinny might mention it like 400 times, but when we have a no-hitter going and tell the audience, and then they give up a hit, they're like, Vin Scully would have never done that. And we're like, just off the record, we push cough button and we go ahead and check the broadcast.
You're like, he did it all the time.
He did it all the time.
But it is
well,
true.
we can't fight with social media.
How crazy that happens, though. It's like, as soon as you say it, it's like, oh.
Yeah, like one of my favorite moments was, and I know we have to wrap up because we're going to go on the radio. Joe telling you that he named his son's middle name Orel.
I know. I feel sorry for the child.
How special was that for you?
Theodore Orel Davis.
Was that really how you learned about that on air?
We were at dinner at a very famous restaurant in L.A. Musso and Frank's.
Oh, that fun fact, that is my boss Frank's favorite restaurant.
And the owner of Musso and Frank's is the one that nominated me for a Hollywood Star, and we got a Hollywood Star. So in the future, you guys should do a podcast from when they do my Hollywood Star.
Well, we would be happy to.
But you guys have to go on ESPN Radio now and really advertise this so that more people will listen and watch this.
And come to Legends Attic.
Come to Legends Attic.
And I want to go get more coffee.
We are. So we're going to take another coffee break.
Another coffee break, and we'll be back.
And we'll be talking faster in the next segment.
Exactly. It's so true.
Okay.
We'll be all jittered up.
Talk Dodgers to me.
Good.
Actually, it's a bit official. I was like, perfect.
Well, it's weird because when I'm here, the store wants to sell my autograph, the private signings and stuff. But when you're here, you got a kid or a dad or these guys. It's like, how do you say no?
They're going to remember that forever.
And even at the ballparks or at the hotels still, I told them, guys, this is really awkward because, I'm not going to not sign. It's part of my brand to be nice to fans.
It's who you are.
You don't want them walking away saying anything.
Yeah.
A negative thing happens, people will tell it 10 to 100 times.
Way more than they will a positive thing.
They'll barely say it. You have to do 10 positives to get one person to tell a story about it almost. But you do one negative, it's gone.
Yeah, well, it's the same theology of like for one positive or one negative thing that you think,
like on
you
the
need
internet?
like 10 positive things to offset that, just of how our like neural pathways
Well,
work.
the whole internet too.
Yeah.
The internet is like, if you see one negative thing, you better pay attention. But if it's like a dummy and you're really like, okay, this person is just angry about something else and just picked on me. But I try and read those or hear about those, and I try and say, okay, let's take a step back. Let's not take it personal. And is there something there that I need to work on? Or not all the time.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
is there something
people
there?
just want to be mean for no reason. I mean, obviously we're very new at this, but that's even something I've experienced where I'm like, wow, people are very bold over social media, one. And two, like they would never say things to your face that they will say behind a computer.
They're safe too, and we're not.
I know, and it's crazy too because actually we had two of the wives on.
Yeah,
the
Alex
podcast.
Vessia's wife and
Gavin
Gavin's
Leslie's
she's
fiance.
big on social
fiance.
media.
Yep.
But she said something really, I was like, oh, that's a really good perspective. Where it's like when someone says something mean, she's like, did that make you feel better? Like she takes it, she tries to take it less personal to herself.
And I think the one I'm talking about,
are you okay?
sorry to cut you off, but I'm thinking about Bobby Miller's girlfriend, I think, or significant other, that she really goes overboard.
Oh, she
a
does.
lot.
Okay.
I don't think
She's
it's
like,
I don't think it's Alex's wife as much.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's an athlete herself, I believe.
Bobby Miller's is it girlfriend slash
I
wife
believe
or something?
girlfriend.
Yeah.
No clue who that is. So.
Bobby
Well,
Miller.
not Bobby Miller's.
Oh, yeah.
She has
Who
a
is she?
following
I know Bobby
herself.
Miller.
Yeah,
Does she?
she's got quite a following
She
and is
does,
an athlete
okay.
herself.
Yeah.
I think she does like jujitsu,
Oh, wow.
which is really cool. But as we're talking about, negative comments, things like that, on our podcast, we spin everything positive. We're always glass half full, optimism. Even though our pitching staff might be all on the IL, we're still thinking we're going to pull through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, I think our question for you, as of we're going into the playoffs, what would you tell the team right now? What is your motivational speech, or what is the thing you would say to hype them up to get them ready to go into the postseason, to have that fire? And
Well, I've thought the lineup since Tommy Edmonds came here and Mookie got healthy and Freddie's in there and everybody, Max Muncy's back. I felt
Really
like
great.
the lineup was playoff ready, and I've thought the lineup is playoff ready since then. The bullpen I think has always been playoff ready, but they needed to be used differently as we went through it because Dave Roberts and Mark Pryor and the front office are making choices of who's going in the game and when according to workload instead of this is the best place for this guy and everybody's rested.
Yeah.
And because of the injuries throughout the whole year, they've had to play a lot of consequential games where it was who can pitch, not who's the best guy to pitch tonight.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not completely about short-term rest as it's about the accumulative workload of if we pitch him 3 out of 5 days now and 3 out of 5 days in the next 5 days and 3 out of 5 days in the next 5 days, this guy is going to be hurt.
Yeah, he's
Right?
not gonna have anything left to give beyond that.
It's the cumulative. So on the pitching staff, to inspire them, I don't think the offense needs to be inspired other than just play according to the game, have team at bats, move runners over, hit your home run when it happens. If the pitcher on the other side is really doing well and he's locked in, don't try and hit the ball too hard. Just take the base hit to right or have that approach. The pitching staff, two separate issues, right? The bullpen and the starters.
Yeah.
The
How do we get the starters to go more than 4 innings?
And I think it's only going to be a cumulative effect with the starters. I think we will get 3 or 4 good starts out of the guys that they choose and what order. I think that those guys will be able to go 3 or 4 innings and pitch well. The cumulative effect will be is if that's all they do, the bullpen, if we get through the first series, how are they going to be the second series? And how are they going to be in the World Series?
Yeah.
So to get those 11 wins, now that we have a bye, it's going to be a cumulative time from how much work did it take to get to the next stage. So
How many pitches?
if last night was an example of a great start by a good pitcher, a great pitcher, one more inning out of him is huge to get all the way to the World Championship.
Yeah.
One more inning out of Walker, instead of 5, he goes 6.
Yeah.
And then you have a guy for the 7th. That's a clean inning. Nobody has to warm up behind that guy.
Yeah.
You have a clean 8th. Nobody has to warm up with that guy, and you have a clean 9th.
Yeah.
Now you've had 4 pitchers with clean innings in the 3 last ones. No one had to warm up. Vesey didn't have to warm up behind Trinan.
Yeah.
You know, it's just there's a cumulative effect to all this, and it's not that you can put somebody on the IL or you can't rest them or you can't have a slight pulled hamstring and say, oh, we're going to rest you because we don't want it to get worse. Those games are all going to come like in this unit of time.
Yeah.
You don't have time to put
So-
them on the IL and rest them.
So if we could get starters to go at least 5, and 6 or 7 would be off the charts, would change the whole formula on the pitching staff.
Well, in the past, those 5 days off have not benefited us. Do you think this year it will?
Well,
To give our players and pitchers especially some rest?
yes,
Freddie
I think
for
we
his
And
foot?
Freddie?
I think we needed the bye this year for sure,
Yeah.
and we wanted to buy, and we got it. I think it's easy to say the time off has hurt us because the results didn't come in. So I think in the past, what we have forgotten is where the time off has helped us.
Yeah.
But then we didn't get results, so we focused on the result.
It's that
and
positive negative
Right.
moment.
It's just what are you reacting to and what are you bringing to the top of the priority list. And the Dodgers have had to say publicly, we are still working on that formula because the formulas in the past haven't worked.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they'll change that formula. I think they'll get feedback from the trainers. They'll get feedback from the players. They'll get feedback from the coaches. They'll have organizational meetings. They'll have people that are different on the roster that say, I'd like to do it this way. I don't think they're going to tell Ohtani, Betts, or Freeman or Muncy or different people that like, oh, this is the way you should run your program. Those guys know their body better than anybody. They know their reactions.
Yep.
They know if they want BP at 70 miles an hour or they want game style BP. They know if they want at bats against minor leaguers that we bring in to make it simulated game. They know if they don't want those.
Yeah.
So I think it's different for everybody. I think there will be a team formula, but there'll also be a lot of individual formulas there.
Yeah.
I would hope so, especially for someone like Mookie, who I'm sure is sick of talking about how we went 0 for 20-something
He and Freddie
last
had struggled.
postseason,
Yeah.
and changing
It
the
was-
conversation about the Dodgers in the postseason.
Yeah.
They've had that pressure already, though, because they've watched Shohei do his thing this year,
Yeah.
and they don't want to feel like they're in the shadow. So the news has been following the team for a long time. There's pressure for them to perform at a level that is the bar's being raised. And so I think that the playoff games are actually going to be something that they have been trained for now.
Yeah, I was like,
In a
that's
way.
true. Say, do you think
You know
that
what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's helped our team immensely, but do you think he's helped? Because we do. We have, if you look at our lineup, it's like superstar, superstar, superstar. And on any other team, they are the guy.
Yeah.
But yet you look at our lineup and it's like, they're all, they all could be the guy. Do you think that Shohei coming to this team has helped in them to elevate and say, like, you know, I got to get up and do my thing. He's doing his thing.
Yeah, you
How
compete with
could
yourself.
it
but you
not?
do.
Yeah, how could it
raise the
not?
bar for sure. You know, and I think this team is getting grittier.
Yeah.
And not that they weren't gritty inside. I think they're getting grittier outside.
Yes. You're starting to see it a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, and off camera,
That's what we
talked
love
about,
to see.
Earlier, we talked about when we see Shohei with emotion.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It gives everybody else permission to have those emotions.
Yeah.
And so
not to be so buttoned up and so
Yeah.
perfect and put
I don't know if
together.
it's in this
like,
culture,
no.
but there's white collar and blue collar in my day. We're a very white collar team until the emotions come out. You know, Mookie's a gentleman, Freddie's a gentleman and friendly. Muncy used to be more football player mentality, but he's kind of calmed down. Tommy Edman, I know,
still
has
tells
some
That
great
Good
epic,
things
that
out of the
flip.
ocean,
Well,
but,
that's
you know,
that's
beyond
only
that.
been, you know how old we are now. That's probably
know.
5 years
know.
ago.
I know, it was like, that was a while ago.
Yeah,
But weren't baseball players
but we're getting
told
there.
not to show emotion?
In Los Angeles, it's always been a little bit more like keep it on the down low because we're so exposed by the media. Now everybody's exposed by the media.
Yeah, that's true.
So, when in my day, there was just the game of the week, and then there was Monday Night Baseball, and then there was Thursday night, and then now it's every game's on TV.
Yeah.
But in LA, you were the ones that were like in the fishbowl.
Yeah,
LA,
you were
New York.
in Hollywood. You were around it all already.
So it was a little different, and act professional, and that old quote, old school. So that old school was more like act like you've been in the end zone before.
Yeah, one day at a time. I'm just trying to help the ball club.
Exactly, all the cliches.
What's been cool this year, especially from Walker Buehler, and I think seeing his progress, he's talking about it each time. He's saying exactly what's going on, how his physical and mental needed to match up, and he's feeling he's progressing. And when I hear him, I trust what he's saying, and I think he's proving it each time. And it was amazing to watch him last night, and I feel really confident in him in the postseason.
Good.
Well, and it was
That's one.
It was right. I feel good about Flaherty. He's about the only. Thank God we got him at that trade deadline. He's about the only person I'm not.
Yoshi didn't have the best outing
trepidations.
last time.
Yeah.
We call him
No,
Yoshi.
Yoshinobu.
We nickname the players Shohei Decoy Ohtani.
Why
Oh
not?
my goodness.
We don't know his middle name, so until we do.
We want him to have grit, not Decoy Ohtani.
That's true. But look, but we've seen his grit now, and that's what's been really cool is he didn't have emotion prior. I liked watching him in the Angels because he's one of those players you want to watch. I don't care where he is.
Right.
And then kind of coming here, you've actually seen him come alive.
Yeah, it was like the World Baseball
He looks
Classic.
like a kid
Yes.
out there having a great time, and it's so fun to see that. And it does. I feel like his passion, his fire, is seeping into the rest, and it's allowing them all to be like, "Oh, I'm allowed to."
When Mookie became a Dodger, one of the things I said on the air was, it is amazing to watch everything he does, and there's no malice, there's no anger. And Shohei's the same way. Freddie's the same way. And I think there are certain portions of a game and competition where it's okay to be angry. It's okay to show you're upset that you popped up. It's okay to show that you're angry you hung a curveball. It's okay. We don't want to teach little leaguers this and maybe high schoolers, but it's okay to throw your glove when you get to the dugout. It's okay to have a little bit of a temper. Right.
Yeah,
Anthony Banda.
Don't punch walls. That's a bad idea, especially when your job is to use your hand.
But there is something that releases,
Yes.
that gives you more adrenaline, that tells your teammates you really care in the
And
moment.
tells the fans that they care.
And the fans love that.
Yes,
So
they do.
before we wrap up, because Orel has a crowd waiting outside, I would be remiss to ask. Orel, you've been around the game for such a long time. I'm just wondering if you could contextualize Shohei for us. Everybody's talking about him. Everybody's talking about how great he's been this season. And I'm just wondering, you've been around the game a long time. I'm wondering if I'm being hyperbolic and saying by the end of next year, if Shohei throws 150 innings with a sub-3 ERA, if he has a 40 and 30 season maybe because of the regression of just naturally having to pitch too, are we talking about him by the end of the season being the greatest player ever?
No. I don't think we're talking about the greatest player ever, but we're talking about some of the greatest performances ever. And I think it's going to take a longer time. But, it took 7 years over here to become a free agent, to become a Dodger. He's doing amazing, off the charts, above expectations, above records that were never set. But he's definitely a Hall of Famer already. But when you put people in the best player ever, you're talking about guys that played in the big league level for 20 to 23 years. You're talking, numbers that are encompassed over the course of a long career. It feels a little bit sacrilegious to even say that I'm not saying he's the greatest player. And if he does something next year with pitching that puts him in the top 3 of Cy Young voting, if he does something offensively that puts him in the top 3 of the MVP race or the Offensive Player of the Year, and he does them in the same exact year after this year, and if they win a World Championship this year for some reason, and he's a key element like the World Series MVP, or maybe both the NLCS and the World Series MVP, now we are getting closer to greatest player ever. He's compared to Babe Ruth, and I think it's an unfair comparison. I think what he's doing in this generation is way better than what Babe Ruth did.
I think it's harder.
Well, it's every generation. These are the best baseball players that ever walk onto the field.
Yeah.
No matter what you say. And the reason I say that, and I say it vehemently is that Olympic records are being set every time, every year. So if they're running faster, if they're throwing a javelin farther, if they're throwing a discus farther, if they're throwing a shot put farther, if they're doing the pentathlon, if they're swimming faster, if they're doing all these things, all of that comes onto the baseball field.
Yeah.
So these are the best athletes to ever play the game. And are there fundamental problems at times, like throwing a ball to first or cutoff man, or he swung and missed with a man on third and less than 2 outs and he strikes out? Nobody struck out like that. If you go back and research all the guys that you're holding them up against, you'll see a lot of errors and you'll see a lot of fundamental mistakes and you'll see a lot of strikeouts with a man on third and less than 2 outs.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, in some ways,
It's part of the game.
this podcast, we want to be famous and we want to be infamous at the same time. Because it's eyeballs and ears and excitement, and this is what people want.
And we're living in such a great time with this level of talent of baseball players. It's just so fun to watch. Like even the conversations of Judge and Ohtani and the MVP, it's like, listen to what we're talking about.
Indoor and all that.
It's fun to have these conversations. And
When you guys are in the next generation, you will say, when you're my age or maybe slightly younger than me, so 66, right around when you get to be about 32 and you have a family and you have a job and you have a career you're working on, that's when baseball's not the same anymore. And I'm like, why would it be? When you were 8 years old to 16 years old, you were playing it, or you were a fan of it, or your brother played it, or you and your brother played it, and you played catch every day, and you did this, and you dreamed, and you collect baseball cards. That's where you became the fan, and you loved it. And then slowly, other things come into your life, like I need a college education, or I need to get my homework done.
How do I do?
I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, I have this, I'm getting married. And then all of a sudden, I just don't follow the Dodgers the way I used to. Well, of course you don't. So,
or you become even bigger fans.
Or you do.
Unless you meet someone, I'm getting married very soon, and he is diehard as I am as far as
that's great.
loves
Then. Yeah,
baseball.
it stays with you.
It stays with you because we found something in common that we like to do together. So that's one way.
I'm just saying, because you does run into those fans, right? That say, I just don't follow it the way I used to. I go, how many games you go to? Well, I go about 3 or 4. Boy, it's expensive. Boy, it's this. Oh my God! But what about him? And you know, maybe 3 names on the team.
I mean, that's why we started a podcast, Talk Dodgers to Me. We wanted more people to talk about the Dodgers with.
At the age though, you know every name, you know their birth date, you know where they went to college, or if they got signed up for agents, you know
She
everything.
does know more about them, like personally.
I connect with them, the people. I want to learn about them.
I'm the nerd who actually I really love
the numbers and all the other stuff.
I do. I'm like a statistics.
I want to know how they treat the players.
That's
why I love the Dodgers. How the culture.
Al Michaels.
I go and take score because it's fun to me. I do.
One of the things, like 2 guys that are world famous and unbelievable Hall of Fame broadcasters taught me 2 things. Vin Scully said the most important thing you'll bring into the booth is yourself. So that's what I try to do every day and relax and just be myself. And Al Michaels told me that they won't care about the game until they care about the players.
Yep.
And that's you.
That is true.
So, you know, there has to be something personal about what they're doing, why they're doing it, where they came from, what there's going on with their family. Has their dog died lately? What's going on? And now they're more engaged.
Yeah. Well, tiny tangent. That's how it is for us when we make our films. You know, with documentaries, you need something that connects the audience to it. And it could be a character, it could be a person who you have nothing in common with, but yet, what is the deeper layer? What is that aspect of their personality that you're like, wait, I can understand that. And it connects you to them, and that's why no one wants to see, one of the big things I say every time we do a doc on someone who is of name or whatever, it's like, there's gonna be moments you don't love in it because we have to show the fullness of who you are, the imperfections, the great things you've done. If you just show a perfect person, no one's interested in that because no one is perfect. No one can relate to that.
But if you don't get that right, it's probably not going to be a very good doc.
Exactly.
That one little core element.
Exactly.
And that Al Michaels quote, I have a whiteboard on my wall instead of art. I'm constantly thinking and creating, and I had that on my board for so long. And I think you can take that into anything you do.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what you bring to the broadcast booth.
Well, I appreciate that. I just, like those 2 men said, I like to know enough about the players that you're interested in. I like to bring myself in there. And I'm lucky I had good parents.
I'd say you did.
Yeah.
Good parents are good.
Well, I mean, Orel, thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
We've had like an introduction, get along, coffee break, water now, and we are finally done.
You kept coming back, so
I don't know
must not be too bad.
Are we going to break this into 3 segments, or are we going to make it one?
No, we're going to piece this bad boy together, and it's going to be a beautiful one episode. But then we're going to have you come back for episode 55, you know.
Because we got to ask you all the questions about your career,
we talk about
when
your
you were playing.
experience in playing time.
Or can you please plug Legends Attic for us one more time?
Yeah, plug this place.
While we're here.
Are you sure?
This beautiful
Yes, please
place
do.
that we're in.
No, we appreciate you guys coming on location here to Legends Attic. And you had to come all the way here to Claremont. You had to come down Foothill. You had to find some parking because we've had a lot of people here today. You guys are famous. ESPN was here. And we are not only a place where you can buy memorabilia from any sport to actors and actresses and musicians, but there's a lot of my personal memorabilia here. There's one right behind me. There's Legends Attic is a place that's for the fans, and if you happen to buy something, great. If not, don't worry about it. Come enjoy it. Have memories. Create memories with your family.
Come for the people.
Yeah,
You're going to leave with a whole group of friends.
Great conversations and spend hours here longer than you intended.
Yeah, well, legendsaddict.com.
And create opportunities for people
Dave,
like
Dave
us.
Holbrick, we've got an in-house artist that does amazing
Buy
stuff.
some Dave artwork, put it up in your chic.
And guys, when you
can get this for only.
When you come to Legends Attic, tell them you heard about it on our podcast.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much.
My
So
pleasure.
lovely
You guys are
talking with
wonderful.
you.
An absolute dream.
And
Wonderful.
Go Dodgers.
Yeah.
Go Dodgers.
I don't know
Bye,
I don't know how we're gonna fit the outfit change in, but we'll be fine.
No, guys.
I just added a
she
jacket.
elevated.
She elevated.
My sister really is going to be like, Melissa,
No.
you didn't wear the jacket the whole time. I gave you that
At the
jacket.
very beginning, I was gonna cut off my t-shirt.
We should have given you a crop top too.
But I have to do it for you.
Yeah, I have an innie.